everybody. This is week 4 of Bio111. Thank you so much for your work so far. We've been in Bio111 for a month, which means it's about time to take our first unit test. So I wanted to give you a little bit of information about what the test is going to be like, how to prepare, and also some opportunities for bonus points on the test. Okay, so in terms of the format of the test, for the online hybrid section of Bio111, this is what our test is going to look like. There's going to be 3 parts, and each part is going to be a different format and worth a different point total. The first part is going to be a multiple choice section. That section is going to comprise the majority of our test. It's going to be worth 85 out of 100 points, and it's going to be made up of 30 multiple choice questions. These multiple choice questions will be based on materials from the textbook and from Mastering Biology. So going over your old Mastering Biology homework, doing practice tests in Mastering Biology, looking at your Mastering Biology tutorials are all great ways to study for this kind of largest part of the test. The second part of the test is a short answer part of the test. It's 10 points. It'll be 2 of 4 questions, so there's going to be 4 different short answer questions that you can answer if you'd like. I'm only going to require you answer 2 of them. If you do more of them, I'll take the top 2 that give you the most number of points, and I'll add those up for your grade. These short answer problems will be based on the worksheets that we've been doing in class, online. So each week we have like a worksheet that we complete, and it's kind of, we take the material in the textbook and we do something new or different with it. So maybe we're drawing pictures of atoms, or maybe we're kind of diagramming what ionic bonding or covalent bonding looks like. Maybe we're learning something about evolution in an interactive evolution quiz. Whatever kind of worksheets or online quizzes, kind of extra activities that we do outside of the book, that kind of stuff is going to be what the short answer problems on the test are going to look like. Again, it's going to be 10 points of the test. You'll have the choice of 4 questions to do. Just do 2 of them, and that's going to be that part of the test. The last part of the test is the problem-solving part of the test. And this is the part of the test where I ask students to create a new experiment using the scientific method in order to find out more information about the world. So this is going to be worth 5 points. You'll have 2 questions. Only do 1 of them, so only choose 1. And again, the point of the problem-solving part of the test is to design your own experiment based on the scientific method. And I'll ask you to use the specific format that we learned about in class. So for example, when we did the Avandia case study, right, that was an example of when we created a new scientific experiment to find out something new about Avandia and diabetes. This week, we're going to have another case study on a human disease and a drug to treat a human disease. And that will also be a good example of a problem-solving exercise or a scientific method design and experiment exercise that you could maybe take a look at in order to prepare for the test. So that's kind of it. This is the format of the test. It's mostly multiple choice, but there are short answer and kind of design your own experiment parts of the test. And just in case we didn't see it before in chapter 1, and I know it's been a while, I wanted to go ahead and share with everybody again the format for that problem-solving part of the test. In other words, the specific, scientific method process that we use here at Wake Tech whenever we design experiments. And that problem-solving format is here, and this is what I'm expecting to see on that problem-solving part of the test. Remember the parts of the scientific method, we have the problem, right? We state the thing that we're interested in, the problem that we're trying to solve, the question that we're trying to ask. We then propose a hypothesis. That's a broad, general, educated guess to answer the question or solve the problem that we're trying to solve. We'll then have a testable prediction, which is going to be the more specific set of ideas or set of conditions that we're going to test to determine whether or not that hypothesis is correct or not. That testable prediction is then going to allow us to determine variables for our experiment, specifically the independent variable, right? The thing that we as researchers are trying to test that has an effect. on the dependent variable, the variable that we as researchers are trying to measure for an effect. We'll also then have standardized variables for every experiment. These are variables that, could affect the outcome of our experiment, but because we don't want to look at them, we're going to standardize them between the control and the experimental groups, okay? And remember again, the independent variable, that's the thing that we're going to test to see if it has an effect on the dependent variable. And the standardized variables are like environmental conditions that could affect our outcome, but we don't want it to, so we're going to specify them and not worry about them. Our control group, this is going to be the group that doesn't receive the test, it doesn't receive the independent variable. This is going to serve like as our baseline for comparison to determine whether or not our independent variable really does have an effect. And our experimental group, that's going to be the group that's going to receive that variable that we're going to test. It's going to receive maybe the fertilizer if we're growing plants. Maybe it's going to receive the drug if we're looking at how drugs affect our research subjects in a diabetes study. Okay, so the control group again will not receive the independent variable. The experimental group will receive the independent variable. The last two parts of the scientific method are going to be data. Make sure to specify if it's qualitative or quantitative data. Qualitative data is going to be observations, maybe symptoms, maybe qualities or characteristics about your experiment. Quantitative data are going to be things we're going to be measuring, things with numbers associated with them, maybe the height of the plant, maybe the blood pressures of the patients, whatever observations that we make that require numbers to measure, that would be quantitative data. If you need to use a graph to kind of plot out or to visualize quantitative data, you can use a graph. If you want to use a chart to kind of organize qualitative data, you're welcome to do that. The goal is to make it as readable and accessible for your reader. And then finally, the conclusion. Given the data that we have we disproved or have we supported the hypothesis? Again, this is the problem-solving format we're going to use. Go ahead, when you're preparing for the test, to take a look back at the Avandia case study, take a look at the case study that we're going to be doing this week, and kind of get yourself familiar with this format because it's going to be on the test. Now, where are the resources to help prepare for the test? First things first, to prepare for that Mastering Biology multiple choice portion, please take a look at the learning goals that I have put into your Blackboard course shell in your lessons folder each week in your lecture materials. Those learning goals are like a list of all of the topics or all of the content that are going to be on the test, and specifically only the ones that are highlighted are going to be the ones that are on the test. So take a look at those highlighted learning goals for each chapter, and that's a great way to study for the multiple choice part of the test. Worksheets and case study keys, these will help you study for the short answer and for the problem solving part of the test. They should be posted today, so you should see them pop up in your Blackboard course shell. And the last thing is, I wanted to kind of really stress this, is that this test is not just about memorization. I ask my students to know, understand, apply, analyze, and synthesize their knowledge. So that means when you come to the test, the way that students are assessed on their knowledge is not just to be able to recognize something that we've seen before in class, but I'll ask you guys to be able to take what you've learned in our class and apply it to solve a new problem, or apply it to analyze a new situation, or maybe I'll ask you to synthesize a new experiment in order to find out new information. So in addition to kind of remembering what we learned, in addition to understanding what we've learned, I'm also asking students to be able to use that knowledge in new situations. So when you get to this test, there may be moments when you feel like, I kind of know this, but this also is new to me. That's because I'm asking students to go beyond just knowledge and understanding, and I'm asking students to use their knowledge in new situations to be able to solve problems. Go ahead, please, if you've, this is the first time that we're doing application and analysis, and this is synthesis on a test. Please take a look at the critical thinking videos that I've posted in your Blackboard course shell, because this will have a little bit more information about what are these critical thinking skills, and how is it that students can learn to use them on a test in classes and in the real world in a job situation. Last thing is for every test, to encourage students to study, I give students 1 point for each practice test they complete and turn into the practice test turn-in link in Blackboard. That means because there's 4 chapters, students can complete up to 4 practice tests and receive up to 4 bonus points for each test that they take in Bio 111. And how to get there. If you go to your Mastering Biology in your Blackboard course shell, navigate to the study area, navigate to the practice tests. In that menu, you should see like different practice tests for each chapter, okay? As you complete the practice tests for chapters 1 through 4, make sure to, at the end of each practice test, save it as a PDF. And as you save it as a PDF, right, once you've got all of these PDFs of these practice tests, go ahead and upload these PDFs to the practice test upload link in your Blackboard course shell. I'll see them on my end as I grade, and once they're in Blackboard, I can go ahead and just give a point for those practice tests, and those points will add up to your Bio 111 test. Okay, so if, say for example, if I made an 87 on my Bio 111 test, if I made an 87, that would be like a B. Okay, if I do the practice tests, all 4 of them, I would add then 4 points to that 87, and I would then go from having an 87 to a 91, which would be an A. So this is a good opportunity to not only study for the test, but also to get points on the test that I'm just offering to encourage students to do work ahead of time. These practice tests will be due by the end of the testing period, so make sure, please, to turn in those practice tests before the testing period is over, before February 6th at midnight, okay? That's all that I have for you guys. If you do want help to study for Bio 111, there's lots of resources here. There's the STEM Center with faculty tutors in ND 460. STEM Center is open during business hours, and they have biology tutors at various times. Make sure to check out the STEM Center link that I posted in the Getting to Know You video in the beginning of the semester, or you can Google Wake Tech North Campus STEM Center, and a link for that should pop up. The other place to get help is the ILC, or the Individualized Learning Center. This is available on both North and Perry campuses. You can schedule a time to get biology tutoring with the ILC. That would be a great option because they personalize tutoring and study skills help for the student that is coming in for help. In addition, they have biology-specific tutors. So, you know, going to the ILC for biology tutoring means like a student could get individualized for themselves tutoring in biology. So ILC biology tutoring is a great resource. Number 3, in Mastering Biology, in your study area, there's lots of different like things you can click on and materials that like you can go through in order to like understand better the materials in chapters 1 through 4. I have posted some extra materials in your assignments calendar. They have not been required, but they are available for your use. If you want to check out other materials in your study area, go for it. Like click on things, experiment, see what's helpful and useful for you, because all of those resources are there in your book and available to help you do well and succeed, okay? And if you want more specific recommendations for stuff to look at in the textbook, shoot me an email and let me know. And finally, speaking of email, if you want to reach out to me, email me, visit me during office hours. My in-person office hours in NH269 are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 to 12:30, or Tuesday and Thursdays from 10 to 11 a.m. I also, of course, have our online office hours, Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 6 to 7, and Wednesdays from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. I can also be online during other times. If those times don't work for you, shoot me an email, and I will do my best to make myself available. I am here for you guys. If there's anything else that I can do or provide access to or provide, advice about, please let me know, because I want everyone to be as successful as possible on our tests and in our class. Okay. That's it. Thanks for your attention. Again, reach out to me if you need anything, and let me know how this first test goes. Okay. I'm rooting for everybody. See you.